It seemed to start as a simple cold. Then authorities thought perhaps it was a standard flu. It wasn't long before it was clear that the world was dealing with something much, much worse. Countries tried denying entry, mandating shutdowns, and limiting travel. But it continued to spread. It spread to every corner of the globe, and it started mutating. Governments tried everything they could as thousands upon thousands were dying. Civil unrest began to spread. Now, almost 2 years into the pandemic, as the bodies are piling up, the worst has happened.
Hello and welcome to another 31 Days of Horror 2021 video. Spooky, yes. We are going, I believe what is this? This is movie number 6. 6 in our 31 days. And I'm here alone because Leslie went and saw this movie without me. Yeah, she couldn't wait for me any longer. I had this movie in my collection, and the sequel kept popping up on, I think, Netflix or something, and she really wanted to watch both of them, and I kept going, well, I have the movie, I've been saving it for 31 Days of Horror, and then I came home one day, and I think she was watching The Boy 2, and I was like, okay, well, shouldn't you have watched The Boy, the first one? She's like, I already did. And I was like, well, I guess I'm doing that one myself for the 31 Days of Horror this year. And that is The Boy here. And this is the Scream Factory release. And this is one of those films that, like it says here from IndieWire, utterly hypnotic. It got some great reviews. It's great, it's creepy, it'll have you squirming in your seat from Birth Movie's Death, and deliciously tense by The Examiner. It's one of those films that, I guess it surprised a lot of people. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect going into it, to be honest. I didn't know much other than the front cover. I didn't read the back, I just watched it. So yeah, it's a film from 2015. You've probably seen it, but if you haven't, it runs about an hour, 45 minutes long, roughly, give or take. It is horror. It's more drama, a little bit of a thriller. The film essentially is about a boy and his father, or the boy and his father, who run the Mount Vista motel, which used to see a lot of business back when the dad's father used to own it, and essentially they built everything that was there. But business has died down considerably, and they're kind of at risk of losing the place. It's just the two of them taking care of this motel. They essentially live there as well. It deals with the people, the select few visitors who come and stay at the motel, and essentially this 9-year-old's boy's slow journey into becoming like a sociopath, because he's got this fascination with death that gets stronger and stronger as he goes along, and it all seems to start from the fact that his dad, as one of his chores, will pay him, a small amount of money, a couple of cents type thing, or maybe a nickel, maybe 50 cents, whatever, to clean up the roadkill that happens to, get killed in and around this motel, so that visitors don't have that to deal with, essentially. And the boy, ends up with this fascination with death, somewhat as a result of that, and this combination of the fact that his mother left the two of them, so it's just the father raising this his son, and is somewhat of an alcoholic. I don't know if I guess he's don't know if he's an alcoholic or if he's just somebody who's been driven to the bottle due to circumstance. Things not going quite their way. It's absolutely it's beautifully shot. The pace is crazy. It's very much a drama. It's very much a drama. More so than the horror or a thriller or that type of thing. But at the same time, you can see this slow transgression, not transgression, but like a slow transition. That was the word I was looking for. Down through, the events that are taking place until you get to the climax of the film. The film is written and directed by Craig William Macneill, who hadn't done, I think did one film before this, and after this he did Lizzie, which is based, sort of like the story of Lizzie Borden, and then has gone on to, I guess, probably due to the critical acclaim that this film received, managed to score a ton of genre television work, including Channel Zero, one of my favorite shows, The New Twilight Zone, Castle Rock, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, if you've seen any of my reviews of that on the channel, Nosferatu, you'll know what I'm talking about if you've watched it, Monsterland, Them, the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Westworld. So he's been definitely keeping busy there. There's also another writer credited for this film, and that's Clay McLeod Chapman, who was a writer on the film, and it's also loosely based off of a story he had written. He had written, prior to this, Chilling Visions, 5 States of Fear. I don't know if I've watched that one or reviewed it. I think I may. I think I have it. I could be wrong. And then after this, he hasn't done a ton, but he also did Beyond White Space, which is a action sci-fi type movie, and I think I watched that somewhat recently. It's not bad. In terms of the actor, the father is played by David Morse, and you may know him from the show Hack, where he played Mike Olshansky. You may know him from any of the following genre-related films like Desperate Hours, Cry in the Wild, The Taking of Peggy Ann, The Good Son, The Getaway, 12 Monkeys, The Rock, Extreme Measures. It's funny, he when looking over his filmography, he's done a lot of crime, action type films. So where did I leave off? He had done Extreme Measures, Contact, that sci-fi movie, Proof of Life, The Negotiator, did Disturbia, The Hurt Locker, Drive Angry. He was also in World War Z or World War Z, Z because it's like 3 to me, but Passengers, and he was also in Horns, that Horns movie that starred Daniel Radcliffe. But honestly, I think most people are going to recognize him, or he'll probably have most of his fans, at least. I mean, genre fans aren't going to recognize him as Dr. Jack Morrison from Saint Elsewhere, but people who watch Saint Elsewhere are definitely going to recognize him. But yeah, he's a face you've probably seen him. You probably know him. He's been in enough big budget and medium budget films that you've probably run across him once or twice. The Boy, believe it or not, this is not his first and only role. Before this, he was in Cooties, where he played the safety helmet boy. He's also done Ominous, but he's managed to score a role in The Young and the Restless. Yeah, we got two soap opera stars here. Now, one of the characters that, and I won't go into much into him, but he is we'll call him a resident of the motel for a while. William Colby, played by Rainn Wilson. Yes, he's one of the two people named on this film, even though the film literally circles and centers on Jared Breeze playing the boy himself. But yeah, Rainn Wilson is the other named. He ends up. Yeah, we'll just say he's a stayer at the motel. I don't want to give too much away there. But yeah, he's had roles in Galaxy Quest, House of a Thousand Corpses, Sahara, 6 Feet Under, the TV series Dominion, My Super Ex-Girlfriend, The Last Mimsy. He was also in Transformers, the Revenge of the Fallen movie. He did the voice of Galaxar in the Monsters vs. Aliens movie. He was in Super. He was also in Cooties, oddly enough. He was in Uncanny, also known as Android. And lately, I think he was in the big, gigantic shark movie called The Meg. But most people are going to know him as Dwight. I think it's Dwight Schrute from The Office. I never watched The Office, so I know him to see him, but I never watched the film. So another reoccurring character is the sheriff, who was played by Bill Sage. Now, he had a few, genre roles. He didn't have a huge filmography, but he was in American Psycho. He was in We Are What We Are. That was a good film. Ascent to Hell. Welcome to Willits, also known as Alien Hunter. He was in The Wave. And he has a role in the 2021 Wrong Turn movie. There is a family that shows up at the motel for a little while, and the father of the family is played by Mike Vogel, and amazingly enough, he's got quite a few genre roles. He was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003, he was in Poseidon from 2006, he was in Cloverfield, Open Graves, several episodes of Bates Motel, and Under the Dome. And I guess he's done quite a few remakes, because he was also in well, I guess I wouldn't call it a remake, but based on the TV series, the Fantasy Island film from 2020. He was in the film Collection, not the slasher film, but a different film. Came out just recently. And he is also in the latest installment for 2021 of American Horror Story. His wife in the film is played by Zuleika Robinson, who does a lot of television work and plays a lot, I think, Muslim roles type thing and different things like that. But she started off in genre work like The Lone Gunman. You remember that show? Man, I miss The Lone Gunman. I miss X-Files. She was also in the horror film Slash. She was in Hidalgo. In terms of some of the TV series she was in Rome. She was in Lost as Ilana Verdonsky. She was in Homeland, and recently she was in a lot of the Exorcist television series. Then finally they had a son who has a small little relationship with the boy, and that's his name is Ben, and it's played by Aidan Lovecamp. Now, I was quite surprised. Both of these are young at directors, and they both have like genre work under their belt already. Aiden had already been in Paranormal Activity 4. He was also in Cooties. Apparently, I think there may be some kind of Cooties, maybe from the production team or something, got all these people together. Maybe the casting director, I don't know. But it seems odd that 3 of the people on this cast were all in Cooties. He was also in The Invitation, as well as Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. The film, I mean, you've probably heard about it, and if you haven't, I'm sure if you look it up, most people will probably give this, rave reviews, or it's very well shot. It's kind of long and drawn out type thing, because you kind of don't want to rush things in this type of film. It's not an action-packed thing. It's not a in-your-face gore fest or anything like that. It's just one of those, it kind of happens, and like I said, it's very much a drama. There's a lot of drama going on in it, and it is. It's not for everybody. I mean, if you're a slasher fan, your horror is all about the blood and guts. You like your movies full of nudity and scares. The Boy is not that. This is one of the, what do they call it? Intellectual horror. It leans more towards that than it does towards your balls to the wall type horror films. So if you aren't into things like The Witch, and what were the other ones? I can't even remember this. My mind's like this. But yeah, if you weren't into those films that are deemed intellectual horror, this one may seem a little slow for you. Again, most of the horror is seeing this play out. It's almost the boy is going to become like almost like a serial killer, right? Like it's the build up to a serial killer. Like, what made a serial killer? Well, this is kind of like that. What drives somebody to become a serial killer? Well, maybe they started off like the boy, and that's what kind of brings the terror to this movie. If I had to rate it, I solid 3 out of 5, easy. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, in terms of the action, blood and guts, and the scares and stuff like that. But again, we don't need to necessarily have to have that in every film. I just enjoy that a little bit more. So taking it down a little bit a notch in terms of the enjoyment factor there, but it's still a solid film, well put together, well acted, directed, everything about it, the technical aspects of the film. It's just it's a beautiful to watch. It's so tight and well paced. Everything is sort of like it's a piece of a puzzle, and it all just is right where it needs to be type thing. So it's just really well done. I would recommend it to fans who are looking for something that isn't so in your face and slasher or spooky ghosts and all that kind of stuff. You want something that's a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more real. Then The Boy is definitely something you should be checking out. But yeah, I don't think there's much more I can be said. There's plenty of reviews out there, and you've probably already seen this film. So yeah. Oh yeah, and by the way, like Rainn Wilson in this film, I almost didn't recognize him for who he was at first. It was one of those things where I know who I recognize you, but from where? And it took me a few seconds before I was like, oh my God, it's that guy from The Office. I did not recognize him. I just didn't. So kudos to I mean, he has a beard and stuff going on and such, but still, it was just like, wow, very, very different from anything I had really pictured him in. So kudos to that one. Like, who would have thought, right? Like, talk about trying to branch out, but yeah, if you haven't seen The Boy, I give it a recommend. It's not going to be for everybody, but it's a good film nonetheless, and it's worth checking out. Again, those of you who just want to see the blood, you want to see the red stuff flowing. This is not your type of film. There's plenty of stuff out there, whether it be uber micro budget to high budget. So, save yourself some time. But I mean, there's a lot of people who would rather not watch that kind of stuff, and they want horror, but they want it a little bit more. I'm not going to say intellectual, because that's not the right word, but a little bit more toned down, a little bit more story driven rather than visual. Maybe, like, it's not the over the topness of the film so much as it is the aesthetic, the atmosphere that's developed over time. I don't know if that's quite the way to put it, but that's what I'm going with. Anyways, let me know if you've seen The Boy. Keep it spoiler free as much as possible, but I do love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. More 31 Days of Horror to come for 2021. Take care. Have a good one.